Hello, everyone. It's Schizomanic here, or also known as the Insane Game Freak. Don't turn in that direction, apparently I look like a fucking dark monster. So apparently none of this is helping me, but we're gonna sit about right here. So the video title, I admit, is pretty clickbait, but I want to make a point, and I need to make the point by using those two shows as an example. I don't know if I'm using Sakurai or Monster Musume, and I don't know if I'm using Charlotte or something else. But the point is, it's probably something pretentious of like why Sakurai or Monster Musume is better than Charlotte. But what the core of the video is why shows like Harems are better than shows like Charlotte. Because it kind of, and granted, this boils down to personal opinion, but for me personally, I would say I like shows that are open about what they want to be and what kind of show they plan to be from jump, instead of fucking lying to you about some sideways shit that doesn't fucking pretty much the biggest problem I always have with the shows like Charlotte, and granted Angel Beats is legit, but shows like Charlotte are shows that start off with an initial goal and then try to be this pretentious sub commentary about society and life. And some people would say they appreciate the effort of you trying to say something, even if you don't say it the right way, because at least it shows an effort of what you're doing. I would argue in some aspects that's worse, because that means that an argument or a discussion that you could have added to with your social commentary through your work is now devolved into a fucking joke, and you've now made the subject matter at hand seem less important by comparison. Shows like Monster Musume and Sakurai are pretty fucking straightforward about what kind of shows they are. I mean, for God's sakes, the first sequence in Monster Musume is a snake girl getting jerked off by her tail and orgasming while strangling a dude in the bed, alright? Monster Musume is pretty straightforward about what you're about to deal with. You're not talking about some epic tale. You're not sitting here doing social commentary on humans and their weakness or strengths in certain situations, or the terrors of war, or the psychology of the human spirit. You're watching a fan servicey show where the gimmick is a whole bunch of monster girls are living with this one guy in this one house. I don't know how people feel about this, but I would honestly say I'd rather you be straight up honest with me from jump to about what your intentions are as a show, than to sit here and try to lie to me and make it seem like you're something different. Because to me, it just comes off fucking pretentious. It's like you think that you're so fucking artful and dutiful that you don't need to tell me what I'm about to get into. You give me this bullshit setup, and then you're just kind of like, I'm gonna cheat you. I'm gonna defy your expectations, but first I have to set them up, which is something a good story can do anyway. But like it's this thought process of how like special of a snowflake I am, that I don't have to explain shit to you. Because a lot of these fucking shows that want to be this pretentious, I have a deeper meaning and message for you, and all they're fucking talking about is like the same shit everybody else talks about. War's terrible. People die when they're killed. Like really basic storytelling, things that aren't really deep and profound. Because and to be honest with you, I mean, that's not the problem. I mean, you can literally tell a story and have that as a general tagline of the story, and the story still be insanely interesting and engaging just because of how you tell it. But some shows want to play this pretentious fucking game of adding in new elements at random, which just come off as like plot holes and shit, for the sake of, oh, look how different and unique and special we are. And you're just like, you know what, maybe I just want you to shut up and just sit down and tell me exactly what you're going to do. You ain't got to fucking spell it out to me, but just show me a scene and give me a general idea what the tone is. Because people got to understand, that's how people kind of get into anime. They watch like the first episode or two of a show to figure out what the general tone and feel of the show is, and then go from there. Other shows, for some reason, feel the need to set up that tone and then completely jerk your expectations because they think, oh, well, I'm defying it. Well, no, sometimes you're just pissing me off because you just chose to jerk my expectations for the fuck of it. You were like, oh, this is going to be like a simple slice of life series that it has somewhat of adult themes. No, now it's about saving the fucking world because I'm I am the only man who can do it because I have this special power that no one else has. Did it need to go in that direction? Fuck no, but you're going to take it in that direction because you feel that your story deserves it. Your story is good enough to get away with that shit. People don't understand that's that kind of shit you earn. You don't earn like a critical or praise for saving the world, for having a show with the main character saves the world. Like people always think about, oh, Fullmetal Alchemist was like that. Fullmetal Alchemist was simple. They were doing something. Fullmetal Alchemist's basic premise was simple. That, hey, I want to bring back the body parts that I lost trying to revive my dead mother, which was something I probably shouldn't have done in the first place. Meaning this character had already gone through some shit, and we had already learned from his mistakes. As the story progressed, it never really lost that side of the goal, but it became something completely different. It became something bigger because of all the people you met and all their different walks of life. Not this shit where I went from, oh, my power is pretty cheap and stupid to begin with, where I can control people's minds or I can inhabit their bodies for a second, and then whoops, my sister's dead, so I've become a fucking anarchist, and I must stop all the evil in the world or some shit. Or I mean, to me that's just condescending. It's like, oh, we can't just have a simple story, because people don't realize some of the best stories told are simple fucking stories. They don't have to be these goddamn epics. Why do you think almost every major story starts off with a simple premise? I want to save the world. No. I want to change the world that we live in. I want to stop people from getting killed. I want to find my father. I want to meet the man responsible for the life I currently live. Like, they all start with simplistic premises and build on that. Some shows start simplistic and literally just jerk up into this. It's not like a drop off. It's like a steep. It's like a really steep incline to the point where you're looking at like a fucking straight line where it's like everything's fine. I'm living my daily life. Have to save the entire world now. I'm a fucking god because my ability is the only ability I can do anything to protect the world from evil. If you're gonna do that in the first fucking episode. Don't do that in like 20 episodes in. Which is part of the reason why I had my issues with Medaka Box. Medaka Box went from being slice of life bullshit to elevating itself to we gotta save everybody from the school system that's going to try to turn children into robots and whatnot. Like, and granted, even that's not like a major upscale. That's just kind of like it's a steep jump, and I still don't like it as a writing style. But it was nowhere near like the steep, huge up to the ceiling incline versus like this steep kind of like this just jerk up all of a sudden. No one likes jerks in the middle of their shows, especially when they don't really mean anything and it doesn't change the dynamic of the show. That's why I think harems are handled better than these pretentious ass. Primarily, they seem to be like slice of life series that want to elevate themselves to a higher level. And so instead of just becoming maybe a little bit more of a serious slice of life show, and then, because Medaka Box, even though it was steep, was probably around the area where it was going for. It just did it way too quickly, and there wasn't a natural progression to it. Charlotte being insanely pretentious about the way it wants to handle itself, and they all want to tell a different story and make a point, because every series has to make some type of bullshit ass social commentary, right? We got to talk about all the deep interconnected of story and plot lines and plot devices and shit. You know what? Maybe I want to just sit down and watch a story where these magical girls have to find their one true person to partner with to fight in a tournament. Because even though the story is nonsensical as fuck, I knew what I was getting into from jump, versus here where I go from, I wanted to just watch a normal slice of life show, and now it's a fucking show about saving the world. Maybe that's the genre I was trying to get away from, and you pulled me right back into it and made it even worse because you lied to me in the beginning. No one likes being fucking lied to. Do you like being lied to? I don't like being lied to. So you know what? Maybe we should just stop lying to each other. And that's why Monster Musume is better than Charlotte. Thank you guys for watching. Hope there's not too many dislikes. Follow me on VidMe, Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, all that fun stuff in the description below. And I will catch you guys later.